The NBA is known to dish out some of the greatest players of all time, but that's not always the case. In fact, you'd be surprised at the number of players in the league that truly do suck. So today we're going to be digging deep down into the history of all NBA players and spill the deets on the worst of them. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it. Starting with Javaris Crittenton. Before enrolling at Georgia Tech in 2006, Crittenton seemed to have the world at his feet as the reigning Mr. Georgia basketball. He was a leader on the Yellow Jackets in his lone season with the team and a member of both the Future Business Leaders of America and the Senior Beta Club in high school. As a result, the Los Angeles Lakers picked the guard with the 19th overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft. All that follows is a lesson to be learned. Crittenton appeared in only 22 games for the Los Angeles Lakers in his 2 years of NBA action. In 3 different stops, he contributed an average of 5.3 points per game. The product of Georgia gained notoriety in the NBA because he threatened Gilbert Arenas, a former colleague on the Washington Wizards, with a pistol in the locker room. There would be no return to court for Crittenton after being arrested in 2011 for the manslaughter of a 22-year-old mother of 4. He was sentenced to 23 years in jail. Next, Michael Ruffin. In 1999, Ruffin became an NBA player. In the 1999 NBA draft, he was picked by the Chicago Bulls. He found himself in the second round with the 32nd overall selection in the NBA draft, yet he was a center and a power forward. He was regarded as one of the worst players in NBA history. He spent his first 2 seasons with the Bulls before being signed by the Philadelphia 76ers in 2001. After just 1 season, he left to play for the Utah Jazz in 2003. The Washington Wizards signed him in 2004, and he's been there ever since. He spent 3 years with the team before leaving for the Milwaukee Bucks in 2007. It was with the Portland Trail Blazers that he last competed. His career statistics were pretty poor even after he had played for so many different clubs. Moving on, Kwame Brown. The 12 seasons Kwame Brown spent in the NBA were wasted on a player who was never really good. Brown's height and presence in the paint made him an asset to any team that needed him, but Brown wasn't very skilled in any other areas. He played with the Washington Wizards for just 4 seasons before leaving after having his self-esteem severely damaged by Michael Jordan. Still unconvinced, Brown spent the following 2 seasons with the Los Angeles Lakers, where Kobe Bryant destroyed whatever remaining optimism the 7'1" center may have had. The ball never seemed comfortable in Brown's hands, and his scoring average never rose above 7.4 per game. Even if the athlete now denies it on social media, the fact remains that Brown was a flop. Not to forget Anthony Bennett. Anthony Bennett, who was never more than a reserve in the NBA, is the second poorest number 1 choice in league history. Surprisingly, for a first overall choice, Bennett didn't even start a single game this first year and finished with a 4.2 PPG average in 52 contests. Bennett was moved after just his first year in the league and spent the following 3 years in Minnesota, Toronto, and Brooklyn. Bennett is one of the world's worst number 1 choices in history, and by a wide margin. He has made just 4 starts in his career and has produced dismal statistics. The Cavaliers' decision to take power forward with the first overall choice in 2013 was the biggest shock of the year, since he lacked the skill to be selected ahead of players like Giannis Antetokounmpo and Randy Gobert. What's more, Bryant Reeves, one of the rare players in NBA history to remain with the same team for his whole career, is Bryant Reeves. From 1995 to 2001, he played his whole NBA career with the Vancouver Grizzlies. Bryant was picked for the Grizzlies because of his size and strength, but he only played there for 3 seasons before retiring from the NBA due to back injuries. In those years, he spent just 13.35 minutes on the court on average. Bryant's NBA career, despite its early promise, is now among the league's least memorable. Let's talk about Andy Tonkovic. In 1948, the 6'1" Tonkovic was drafted first overall, a point guard selected in the NBA's second ever draft. Tonkovic still failed to deliver. However, he only played 1 season professionally and never made a significant impression for his side. Dolph Schayes, a future Hall of Famer and one of the NBA's most influential post players, should have been selected long before Tonkovic was. Schayes made 12 All-Star teams throughout his career and finished with career averages of 18.5 points per game and 12.1 rebounds per game. The big guy didn't make the cut. Generally, we're talking about a 1 in this case. Not to mention Mark Workman. Mark Workman, a power forward, was chosen by the Milwaukee Hawks as the first overall choice in the 1952 NBA draft. Indeed, not just in basketball, but throughout all of the sports, this was one of the worst draft failures ever, with career averages of 4.9 points, 2.9 rebounds, and 0.6 assists. It's no surprise that Mark Workman lasted only 2 seasons in the NBA. Also, Workman's 33% field goal percentage was below average. Mark Workman's NBA career lasted only 2 seasons before he was released. Since Workman wasn't selected until the 1952 draft, almost no one can remember his terrible first season. Workman was moved halfway through his debut season after averaging 2.2 PPG and 5.8 MPG for his old squad. For the final 60 games of the season, he averaged 5.3 points per game while playing just 16.7 minutes per game. Workman played in just 14 games during his last season in the league before retiring. By every metric of on-court performance and influence, Mark Workman is the poorest number 1 choice in NBA history. How can we forget Adam Morrison? NBA fans have a special place in their hearts for players like Adam Morrison who look ridiculous and perform terribly on the court. Injuries have worsened Morrison's busy reputation, but the player was never worth the 3rd overall selection. In his last 2 seasons in the NBA, Morrison scored an average of 3.0 points per game. After leading the charge for a surprising Gonzaga Bulldogs squad, Adam Morrison was heralded as the next great white hope. Because of this, the Bobcats, back when they were a thing of Charlotte, North Carolina, picked the forward with the 3rd overall pick in the 2006 NBA draft. After a promising first year in 2006 through 7, Morrison regressed to a 3.4 PPG average in his last 2 NBA campaigns. He played for 161 games in the NBA, shooting 36% from the field. He then tried his luck in Serbia. Besides Tyrus Thomas, Sheldon Williams, Patrick O'Brien, and Mohamed Sine, Morrison was a member of a draft class full of flops. Oh no, it probably cost a few jobs at GM. Up next, Travis Outlaw. Travis Outlaw was terrible, as anybody who saw any New Jersey Nets games last season would testify. Obviously terrible. By mid-April, the crowd at the free throw line would mockingly chant MVP whenever he was about to shoot. Outlaw is now well known to be the player who did not merit the Nets' offer of $52 million over the course of 5 years. Outlaw has never been known for putting up spectacular scoring statistics, but he really struggled last season, shooting at a dismal 38% clip and ranking dead last among starting small forwards. But of course, individual game statistics don't tell the whole story. John Hollinger's player efficiency rating quantifies a player's positive and negative contributions to the team's success. With each passing minute, a 15 mark is usually the league norm. Outlaw's 8.80 PER from last season ranked him in the bottom 25. Raja Bell was the only player ahead of him in the lineup out of 21 who played nearly as many minutes as Outlaw. It's safe to say that Travis Outlaw wasn't a master of defense. In defense, he was more of a liability. Despite his tall, lanky build, Outlaw was routinely out-muscled off the dribble and seemed to give up on defense in the middle of the season. But he kept trying to fire his gun even after losing the starting spot to Damian Jones. Outlaw continued to jack up and miss easy jumpers on the wings. Moving on, Mark Madsen. It's only fair to give credit where it's due. Mark Mad Dog Madsen had a successful 9-year NBA career, winning championships in his first 2 seasons with the Los Angeles Lakers. Despite playing over 450 games and starting 70, not to mention participating in 49 postseason games, Madsen never averaged more than 4 points or 4 rebounds. Most people remember Madsen for his embarrassing antics during Lakers victory parades in the Shaq and Kobe era, namely at the 2001 rally when he danced along with Shaquille O'Neal's rap. Not to forget Brian Cardinal. Most NBA and AAU mentors would describe Brian Cardinal as the famous coach's son, workout rat, lunch pail kind of guy. Cardinal had a long and relatively successful NBA career by being the only thing he could be on an NBA court with 9 players who were almost always more talented and able than he was. A lunch pail kind of guy. Cardinal never averaged more than 9.6 points per game in the NBA. Even while playing for the Golden State Warriors in 2003 through 04, his 6-year, $34.5 million deal with the Memphis Grizzlies is perhaps what he is most known for, rather than his pale pail and bucket playing style. Finally, Sun Yu. Sun Yu plays professional basketball for the Beijing Royal Fighters of the Chinese Basketball Association. He is among the NBA's all-time tallest players. In 2009, he helped the Los Angeles Lakers to the NBA title. He never made another fortune again. While he showed promise when he first joined the NBA, he has since shown himself unable to play at the NBA level. He produced 2 turnovers and 4 fouls in his first game. Yu was having a rough time of it as he committed more fouls than he scored. He practiced all the time but still couldn't become a decent player. Generally, one's passions should guide one towards a chosen profession. Maybe he just didn't care about NBA action. That's a wrap for this video. Which one of these players do you think is the worst? Let us know in the comments below. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. We'll see you next time. Bye!